Donald Trump rang in 2026 with billionaires and ice sculptures and caviar in Palm Beach. This, according to a viral video shared by U.S. Senators and California Governor Gavin Newsom. Donald Trump literally rolled out the red, in his case actually black carpet, for his own entrance, while Democrats were quick to point out the irony of how the out-of-touch, lame duck, deeply unpopular $400 million ballroom president started the new year. Joining us at the table, host of Politics Nation and president of the National Action Network, the Reverend Al Sharpton. Tim is still with us. So this is clearly a president who's either out of touch with average daily working Americans who do not want to see their president doing that, or he's a lame duck president. He's fully aware of it and is out of touch. He's spending his days attacking George Clooney and going after American actors as a average guy. What do you make of this?
Both. I think that he is out of touch. I think that he always was. I think that people misinterpreted his anger and grudge at him being not regarded and respected by the elite crowd. When I had my interactions with him in New York, he would always complain, no matter if we were marching on him or whatever, these guys on Park Avenue don't respect me either. You didn't see him at those spots. And I think he was able to communicate that to people, working class people, blue collar workers around the country who didn't understand he was not reacting for the same reasons. He wanted to make deals with them. He wanted to go to the Regency for breakfast with them. And they wanted a decent living. So I think that's who he is. But at the same time, I think in his heart of hearts, he knows that he's a lame duck. I mean, he'll huff and he'll puff like you blow the house down and act like he can go for a third term. He knows that's not going to happen. And I think he's going to squeeze all he can out out of the last several days or years, now 3 years, unfortunately. And he's going to try to make as much money as he can and have as much fun as he can.
Yeah, probably for his family as well. And I don't know if you saw this video, Tim, but we'll play it for you and our viewers. It was the DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller dancing to Ice Ice Baby. The idea of watching these two people dance, but then also to Ice Ice Baby. The cruelty here is what this is about. I mean, people in America right now, families are being ripped apart from each other. People are being deported in violent and ugly ways that we're seeing. The White House social media accounts are basically trolling people day in and day out. They're really kind of reveling in this. People can't afford groceries, and your Homeland Security Secretary and Stephen Miller are dancing.
Yeah, I kind of hate you for showing me that. Actually, I knew it existed. I saw it in my feed, but I scrolled past. I was like, I don't need this today. So now I've seen it. You know, at least the caviar dinner that Donald Trump is having isn't doing any damage to anybody, right? You know what I mean? Like, and this is a lot sicker, right? There's like making light of this. You know, you have these masked agents. Like disrupted a lot of holidays this year, disrupted a lot of families,
picking people up from Walmart shopping parking lots while they're like getting Christmas presents for their families.
Having people that were wrongly sent back to countries they never lived. You know, I was reading about this young woman who got sent to Honduras, who was just trying to fly home for the holidays to see her family. She'd been brought here as a kid. So to like dance around and joke about it, you've seen all the AI memes they do. They had the Ice Santa and all this stuff. It's disgusting. And I just think substantively the policy's bad. I also think the messaging is potentially harming them as you see their numbers coming down. I mean, I was watching the Joe Rogan interview last week where him and Shane Gillis were talking about this. And they're just like, you know, they were for the stronger border. They're for deporting the criminals. But this kind of stuff doesn't resonate even with people that voted for him.
You talk about messaging. Let me play for you a contrast to that type of messaging. It was Mayor Zohran Mamdani during his inauguration speech yesterday. Watch this.
If you are a New Yorker, I am your mayor. Regardless of whether we agree, I will protect you, celebrate with you, mourn alongside you, and never, not for a second, hide from you. For too long, those fluent in the good grammar of civility have deployed decorum to mask agendas of cruelty. Many of these people have been betrayed by the established order. But in our administration, their needs will be met. We will answer to all New Yorkers, not to any billionaire or oligarch who thinks they can buy our democracy.
So the contrast there, Rev, is pretty stark, right? Because you can see it just not in the words, but in the pictures. One guy is having caviars and tuxedos with black carpets and, chandeliers, and here's another one saying we will not answer to billionaires and oligarchs.
And I think he means it. I mean, I've gotten to know him and talk with him a lot over the last several months. He's come to National Action Network a few times. And I sense, I mean, when you've been in this as long as I have, you kind of sense when a guy is putting on a performance or when he's talking, the vibe comes. And I think he means it. I think the devil's in the details, that he gets the help he needs and the staff he needs to enact it, because there's a difference between governing and running, and even the best guys have to find out. I watched President Obama go through a lot of that because I had access to him. But I think that he means what he says. And I also think that Trump means what he's doing. He means to be an oligarch. This is not an accident. Right. He means to be a rich, ruthless guy, uncaring guy, which is why people could dance to ICE at a party like this is a joke. You're snatching kids out of school, and they want that. But if you grow up with that kind of mentality that a lot of the New York guys that he grew up under, who were not that well placed in terms of proper society, you celebrate your ruthlessness, as I think Mayor Mamdani celebrates his humanity.